Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets are making news today. They are breaking news. Woody Johnson has fired general manager Joe Douglas. After, in his sixth year and his final year of his contract, Joe Douglas is out as the general manager of the New York Jets. 30-64 was his record. They have brought in a interim general manager, and that is Phil Savage. Phil Savage was in the Browns generation. And listen, who fires their general manager in the middle of the season? What does he think this is going to do? I guess he's throwing a sacrificial lamb to the fans, right? I guess that's what it is. Here's the statement from Woody Johnson. Today, I informed Joe Douglas he will no longer serve as the general manager of the New York Jets. I want to thank Joe for his commitment to the Jets over the last 6 years and wish him and his family the best moving forward. Phil Savage will be the interim GM for the remainder of the season. We will begin the process to identify a new general manager immediately. So here's what they're doing. Because Savage is not coming in and making moves or anything, right? Joe Douglas did he do a bad job? With this team, did he? Because 42 days ago, when Woody Johnson fired Robert Saleh, his statement was, "This is the most talented team I've had since I've been owner of the Jets." Isn't that the job? Who did that? Who put that team together? The GM. Joe Douglas is not missing field goals. Joe Douglas is not throwing interceptions. Joe Douglas is not getting shredded in the secondary. Joe Douglas is not biting on pump fakes that high school kids wouldn't bite on. We all would have put this team together and been like, I'm proud of it, and we're going to win. Every single one of you would have done that, including myself. It's not his fault he's got a coach, an interim coach, who can't even make the simplest of football decisions. Not a single one of you out there listening would have called the timeout and then kicked the field goal on 4th and 2. The week before, he burned all 3 timeouts in the first half, in the first 10 minutes of the game. I've never seen anything like that. Have you ever seen a team 10 minutes into the game, no more timeouts? No, of course not. And what's going to happen now is when they do find their new GM, because this guy's not going to do anything, he's not going to be working on the draft, he's not going to be here. He's a name on he's a letterhead. He's a name on a letterhead and a guy in an office. He's not being allowed to make moves and whatnot. So now when the new guy comes in, instead of having the guy going out with 5-6 years in the organization, has probably been preparing for this draft over the last year or so, watching players, he's not going to be there. It's going to be a guy who's still getting his feet wet, still getting his feet on the ground, and figuring out where the bathroom is on the floor to tell him what's going on in the organization, right? He doesn't know nothing. So again, Woody Johnson and Woody Johnson's on his way out the door, right? He's gonna be named ambassador. When Trump takes over, he's gonna be doing that. He's gonna not have control of the Jets. And what's the point of firing Joe Douglas in week 11? He put together a good team. You know how I know? Because every single person that you talk to about the Jets, what do you say? And what did they say? How is this team 3-8? Oh man, the guy next to you at the bar, reading the paper on the train. You're like, oh man, the Jets are terrible, huh? How is this team 3-8? I don't know. No one knows. It's not the guy's fault to put them together. We all would have put this team together. You wanted this team put together. You asked him to go get Rodgers. And Rodgers he's not terrible. Right? He's not a terrible quarterback this year, but he's just not Aaron Rodgers, right? He's average Rodgers. And average Rodgers can't run around in the backfield and throw a pass you've never seen before, something you didn't think was possible. He can't do that. He's 40 years old, but he doesn't turn the ball over. He's not, missing receivers all over the place. He's not like Daniel Jones or anything like that. You have a defense that stinks. And nobody knew, right? Nobody saw this coming. Nobody saw this coming. The top guys, the top talent evaluators in football in the country did not see this coming with the Jets. You have an all-time top 5 quarterback. His favorite receiver, one of the top quarterback to receiver combinations in the last 20 years. You have a great pass rusher. You have a corner who last year was the best corner in the NFL. You have the rookie of the year on both sides of the football from last year on the roster. What else did you want him to do? What else could he possibly have done? It sounds like a super team. And they're 3-8. What happened? The super team put on the Jets jersey, Jets helmets, and they're 3-8. It's a disaster. And you know what? The Zach Wilson quarterback choice it did come back to bite him, and that would have been the reason he got fired. But now you're screwed. And what these teams need to do is they need to look at the 49ers. You can't have these quarterbacks ruin your organization for 8 years, 7 years. Daniel Jones has no business still being on the Giants. Why is he on the Giants? You knew coming in this year Daniel Jones wasn't going to be any good, right? But we paid him all this money, blah, blah. No. You need to look at the 49ers. What did the 49ers do? They cut the quarterback. They drafted the quarterback high. They saw in a year and a half he wasn't the answer. They cut ties with him. They put in Brock Purdy, and they went to the Super Bowl. Now, you have some issues with the cap. I get it. And you're going to have to deal with dead money when you cut these guys. I get that. But would you rather just have this guy who sucks on your team 5 years and then you get rid of him? Because then you got to start over. You got to draft a new quarterback. You probably have a new coach, a new GM. And then now you're looking at 7-8 years. It can't ruin. You can't let a one pick ruin your franchise for 7 years. And that's what these teams do. That's what the quarterback does. Cut him. And you know what he should do? You know what he should have done? If he wants to give the fans something to maybe talk about and be happy about, cut Aaron Rodgers tomorrow. Cut him. You cut. Yeah, thank you. It didn't work out. Thanks for coming. See ya. Cut Aaron Rodgers tomorrow. Then you throw some meat to the fans. Because it's not Joe Douglas's fault that this team stinks. Yeah, he put the team together, but we all would have put this team together. And now you fire him in the middle of the season. You bring in this guy who's the interim. So you clearly haven't even been looking. Now we're going to start the process immediately. 42 days ago, you said it's the most talented team you've ever seen. That seems to be like a seal of approval for the GM. It's the most talented team. I don't know why it's bad. Maybe it's the coach. Okay, I get that. We fired the coach. But he put this guy in charge. And also, stop putting the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator, as the interim head coach. They are the head coach of that part of the team. So what you're doing is you're pulling the defensive head coach, putting him in the head coach of the team, and now the defense falls apart. Because he can't concentrate on the defense like he did. Take one of these low-level guys, like Antonio Pierce. Antonio Pierce was like the lineman coach, or the linebackers coach. Now, and it turns out he sucked, but he had a nice little run. He got the head coaching job, but whatever. But with the quarterback, stop letting these guys ruin your franchise for 7 years. Because if you miss on the quarterback, they keep him for 5 years. You suck for 5 years. You fire the coach. You fire the GM. Then you hire a new coach and GM. You get a new quarterback. If you miss on him, and the Jets missed twice. They missed with Sam Darnold, then they missed with Zach Wilson, and then it was supposed to be, okay, we're going to fix it all because we're going to win a couple Super Bowls here for these next 2 or 3 years with Aaron Rodgers, and they missed on Aaron Rodgers. So now they sucked for like 8 years, and now they're starting over. They're 14 years without a playoff appearance, and now they're starting over. It's going to be 20 years before the Jets get back in the playoffs. And if you think that Bill Belichick is coming here, you're crazy. You think Bill Belichick, who just sat there and watched Aaron Rodgers ruin his legacy, tarnish his legacy, I should say, is going to come here when there's going to be $40 million dead cap money, a new quarterback we need to draft, a new head coach. None of these guys are going to be. It's a complete teardown now. You're looking at like the Patriots. You're looking at being Jacksonville next year. The Jets are 3-8. They have maybe, and if they win another 2 games There's like 4 teams at 2-8 that are ahead of them in the draft. So now you're going to have to start wheeling and dealing to get up to, higher draft pick. And of course, it's a draft that nobody likes any of the quarterbacks coming out. So there's that. Both our teams here in New York are picking quarterbacks, and there's no quarterbacks in the draft. Of course. Can't catch a break around here with football. And the Giants are one thing, but the Giants have Super Bowls that we remember. The Jets, it's nothing. They have nothing. They have Namath, who won Super Bowl III. Super Bowl III. And what is he doing? What's the last thing you remember Namath for now? Trying to kiss the ESPN reporter Susie Colbert at halftime. Drunk on the field. The Jets. I'll tell you what went wrong with this team. They put on Jets uniforms. That's what went wrong with this team. Because there's no other explanation. I mean, the defense gets shredded by a guy who was benched for 2 weeks prior because he took himself out of the game. He comes back and he leads the team 2 70-plus yards drives, 10 plays in the fourth quarter, and beats the Jets. He outplayed average Rodgers. And who takes the fall? The GM, the guy who picked him, Joe Douglas. Woody Johnson, man. I know you want to, then the Jets should be steering clear of any news. The last place you want to be if you're the Jets is on the back page of the paper or being talked about on shows like this or like a WFAN or ESPN, anywhere. You want people to forget you even exist at this point because it's such a train wreck. And he throws them right in the back page by firing Joe Douglas. And for no reason. Nothing is going to improve by firing Joe Douglas now instead of firing him on Monday after the season. Nothing would change. So why do it? And you think you're going to get a big name in here to come in here and take this job? You're crazy. You better hope that they find the diamond in the rough, the young kid, the Theo Epstein, to come in and is just a genius. Because otherwise, it's not happening. Bill Belichick is not coming in here. You don't have a coach. You don't have a quarterback. The team is in complete shambles. Fire the GM, the guy who put this team together. It's not his fault they're in shambles. Like I said, every single one of us, would have taken this team and gone to war with them. We all thought they'd be in the playoffs. Some thought that they would be a Super Bowl contender, but we all thought they were a playoff team. And they're not even close. They're getting burned. Their defense is terrible. Sauce Gardner is a disaster this year. He went from the best to bottom 5 in the league at his position. Average Rodgers is average. The running game, okay. The rest of the defense is just a ghost town. Nobody's going to this ballpark. Nobody's going to that stadium in December. Why would you ever? Why would you ever want to subject yourself to watch this garbage and freeze your ass off for 4 or 5 hours and then sit in traffic for 3? Nobody. Like I said, I'll tell you what happened with this team. They put on Jets uniforms. That's what's happened. The Jets are 3-8. They have a bye this week. And then they play Seattle at home, another loss, I'm sure. Against who? Geno Smith. It's just you can't make it up. You can't make the stuff up. You can't make it up. It's just everything about it is just comical. It's a train wreck. I don't even know. It's the Jets. That's all you can say is it's the Jets. They have ruined Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Sauce Gardner, terrible. That's it. I don't even know what to say. We'll get Brett on here later this week, and we'll see what he has to say. I don't know if he has any answers. Nobody has any answers. The answer was Aaron Rodgers. Nope. Not the answer. So now the search begins for the new answer. Ladies and gentlemen, the New York Jets. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to review. Don't forget to rate and subscribe. You can always find anything you want to know about the show on www.lockedupsports.net. You can email the show at lockedupsportshow@gmail.com. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. I'm Bob Walters from the Brian Gunzel Studios. See ya.